Hello, hello! Welcome to this special Brexit video. What does Brexit mean? It means that Britain has voted to leave the European Union. Now, the question on everyone's lips is, what happens now? And I'm here to explain that to you. And the answer is, no one knows. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya. Nah, I'm not going to do that. Although that is factually true. No one knows what's going to happen now because this is truly unprecedented. I'm not really going to talk about that because why am I going to talk about things that no one knows that are currently unknowable? Well, not unknowable, functionally unknowable. I do want to raise a couple of points about the referendum though, so here we go. I'd like to openly state that I did vote to remain. That's probably all you need to know on that. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you any more. I don't want to go into necessarily the pros versus remain and leave. They've been hashed out enough in the news, although perhaps not 100% factually, but that's probably perhaps a story for another day. So I'm not going to talk about the specifics of the remain and leave campaigns. However, I'm going to talk about people's response to the result. If you stepped on Facebook the morning of the result being announced, you'd see a lot of people, or on Twitter for that matter, you'd see a lot of people bemoaning the result, a lot of people celebrating the result, but some people were indeed calling for certain ages not to be allowed to vote anymore, certain types of people, you know, things like this, not to be able to vote. And that is a wholly dangerous and insidious line of thinking, and I hope that that line of thinking does not increase. Democracy is built on the foundation that everyone has the right to one vote and the same vote, and everyone's vote is worth the same, and we have to agree with that, otherwise, you know, the world falls apart. There's also been a lot of calls for Scotland and possibly London as well to think about separating themselves entirely from the United Kingdom and joining the European Union that way. Several people were saying that this is crying over spilled milk, that the will of the British public is to leave the European Union, and that Scottish people and Londoners are just crying over spilt milk because they don't like the result. And why some of that is true, evidently, people in Scotland and London did not, on the whole, agree with the result. As locations, as areas with devolved and somewhat devolved governments in the form of London, with their own borders and existing identities, it's more possible than for London or Scotland to vote to leave than it would be for any other city or country within the United Kingdom. This referendum has been a great example to me of what always tends to happen around any kind of election, especially in the UK, because as a UK person I can see it more firsthand, but the idea that social media and, well, mainly social media, but also your friends act as an echo chamber. You only follow genuinely or are friends with people of like-minded age groups or ways of thinking, and that can build up an echo chamber in which you believe that your opinion is more widely believed than what it actually is. This happened in the case of the Scottish referendum as well. Social media was awash with young Scottish voters believing that the independence referendum was going to go the way of independence, much like in this case the silent majority who waltzed on in and swung the vote in the silent majority's direction. It's always something to keep in mind that the world is much larger and much more complex than your social media feed, and don't let it brainwash you into thinking that your belief is the most abundant or apparent or whatever belief out there, because it's not. You only end up following like-minded people, you're only going to hear like-minded things back, and that is dangerous because it means that people don't understand how to respond to opinions that they don't agree with correctly. Which brings me on to what might be my last point. We need to view people who we have ideological differences with as human as we are. There's a lot of blanket statements used in politics because politics is obviously complicated and we need blanket statements to try and understand it a little bit better. People saying all those who voted to leave the European Union are racists, all those who voted to stay in are lefty lovies, or God knows whatever else. It's not functional for good discourse if you completely brandish the other side as racist. How do you hope to accomplish anything? How do you hope to understand them? How do you hope to convert people to your way of thinking when you're just calling them racists? It's no way to conduct yourself. It's no way to conduct good political discourse. And that may well have been the undermining factor in the referendum. If you call people racists and bigots, they're probably not going to agree with you, because people don't like being called racists and bigots. We need to imagine people more complexly. It's difficult to imagine that anyone else other than yourself has a complicated life as much as you do, but we have to. But yeah, we live in uncertain times, but we live in interesting times. No one knows what the future holds. So I implore you to try and think of each other more complexly can be difficult sometimes, but people are as complicated and have as diverse opinions as you do. They have their own reason for doing things, and sometimes that can be lost in the political battle. But I think if we're to truly understand and truly come together as in this difficult, uncertain time, we need to imagine people more complexly, try and understand them better, rather than massive blanket statements. We're living in uncertain times, but we're living in interesting times. What a year 2016 has been, eh? What a year. Anyway, I'll catch you later.